Welcome back, darling. So, this module is fully focused on diet and nutrition. And I'm going to do a very high level overview as well as go over, of course, any questions, concerns, or comments that you might have throughout the journey of diet and nutrition. Also, keep in mind that I will be updating not only the module for diet and nutrition as I also learn more because I am also in school myself so that I can share the knowledge that I'm gaining with all of you. Now, I'm also going to share this within our Facebook group. So if you're not in our yoga teacher training Facebook group yet, then I'm going to encourage you very highly to make sure that you jump on in there and get yourself comfortable with interacting and seeing all the announcements that I post in there as well, because that's really going to be the hub of where you're going to find a lot of the information and the material that I'll be giving you insight and updates about when we are putting new modules in the teacher training program, when we have our guest speakers, our guest experts that will be helping us along this journey of Ayurveda and yoga. And so to just bring you up to speed, for those of you that are listening in, you will be going to the diet and nutrition portion that is in your yoga teacher training. And the very first module that you have there is understanding diet and nutrition. And I have a little video there for you to dive into, as well as some life work that you can use the Ayurvedic diet workbook to help you along your way. And that workbook will be right there hyperlinked as a shared link. So all you have to do is download the workbook. You don't even have to use it per se in the matter of online, but you can print it out if you like, and you can start filling it out however you wish to use it for. A couple of questions that you're going to keep in mind as you're going along this journey are four main questions, and they are: what is a consistent health plan for you? So you will become your own case study. And then this way you can start to utilize the workbook in tandem so that you can now really assess where you're at right now. And this will consist of what your AMA is, which is the build-up matter, the backup matter, and then also any preconditions, anything you have already that you're working through and working with. Start to take note of those ailments and make notes of them within your workbook so we can now get to the root of the cause. You know, one thing we really want to avoid is acid reflux, anything that's backing up into the esophagus, because this is where that irritable bowel syndrome begins. And chances are, if it gets to a point where it's very aggravated, there are procedures in the Western medical world that are to remove your esophagus, and this can also lead towards ALS. This can lead to other more severe abilities or disabilities. And so we're not advocates of taking anything out of our bodies, but if we've already been through surgeries where parts of our innards have been taken out, then we need to readjust hormonally where we're at. And this stems back to the Ayurvedic principle of understanding our constitutions, our prakriti, understanding fully what these gunas are and the qualities within the gunas or the qualities within the doshas, knowing that the qualities are in fact those gunas. And so we want to make sure that we have a very thorough understanding of where we stand today versus where we were maybe a few years ago, because what happened in the past has already happened, but we have the opportunity to change the future by making conscious shifts today to enable ourselves and empower ourselves to eat healthier, to eat more consciously, to be able to adjust and attune the nutrients that are coming into our body so that we can be very whole in our experiences and our presentation. Nonetheless, we also want to be able to really enliven that inner intelligence within our bodies. And by doing so, this will help us to become healthier and more resistant and resilient to disease. All right. So with that in mind, I just want to also bring to your attention that having a consistent health plan is crucial. You really want to understand where you are at with your dosha today versus where you were yesterday. And you want to be understanding your pulse reading, as we've learned that we can learn a lot about what's going on within our pulse. And we can also learn a lot what's going on within Pachika Pitta, which is the middle portion of our middle finger digit. It is the subdosha Pachika of the Pitta dosha. And this is the dosha along with Samana Vata, which is from the Vata dosha off of the Vata digit, and the digestion reading of Vata, and then Kletika, which is Kletika Kapha off of Kapha dosha, off of the Kapha digit, understanding our Kapha digestion. So with those three in mind, having a really good understanding about our subdoshas and the deep pulse as well as the surface pulse is really going to help us to prevent and or eliminate any diseases or disorders that may have been already an underlining factor or are trying to present themselves. And so we also want to keep in mind that Alochika Pitta has to do with our visual perception. Alochika Pitta is the subdosha for Pitta dosha, and it has to do with our eyes. It has to do with our vision. But this also really speaks to the vision within ourself. When we have an understanding about the vision within ourselves, we're then able to fully assess and address these issues in tandem so that we can then offer some preventative care, preventative measures. All right. So just keep that in mind. And as I just mentioned, you want to utilize Nadi Vignan. In this question, I asked, do you utilize Nadi Vignan? And the answer is yes. We want to utilize Nadi Vignan because this is the pulse reading that's going to give us insight and information as to how our nutrition is actually being metabolized. What are the four Agnis? You want to also understand what those are, as we have Samana, which is a balanced Agni. And then we have Vishama, which is the Vata Agni, which is irregular Agni. We have the Tiksha Agni, which is Pitta dosha's Agni, and that has to do with our metabolic processes, how we transform our food, and the transformation process in general. And then we have, oh, it just slipped my mind. Manda Agni, which is, forgive me, I'm thinking of all sorts of Agnis, but there's 13 in total, but we're only focused on the four. And Manda Agni has to do directly correlated with a low or weak Agni or a weak or low digestive fire, and that's held within Kapha dosha. And so having a really good understanding of those is really going to help you when you're making these assessments. Now, lastly, do you understand what the gunas are in your pulse, and can you explain them? And so if we remember back in the beginning when we looked at Ayurveda and we looked at the 20 gunas, those are the same 20 gunas that are also represented within our constitutions within the Sama Agni, Vishama Agni, Tiksha Agni, and Manda Agni. And within our dosha digits, we can notice those gunas specifically when we're taking the pulse. When we're taking the pulse, you'll notice if it's rapid, if it's slow, if it's sharp, if it's hot, if it's cold, if it's moist, we have the practice of samana and vishesh, which is opposites, will reduce the opposite version, or like will increase like. And so this principle is something that we want to apply. So if someone runs very hot, then of course you're going to want to give them some cooling. If somebody has acid reflux, everything should be more cooling of that fire versus increasing the fire. So we wouldn't recommend giving them warm water to drink. We would want to recommend giving them cooler or lukewarm temperatures to neutralize and balance out the dosha and the Agni fire. So keep that in mind as you go through the presentations as well as your self-assessments. And then use the presentation as an example to self-reflect and hold yourself accountable for your digestion. And so below, you're going to see a beautiful presentation of the Dhatu tissues, Agni, Ojas, and the relationship. Now, what changes do you think you need to make in order to balance yourself? Write that question down. What changes do you think you need to make? in order to balance yourself. So this might be reflective in your food intake, what your daily routine is like. Are you living in accordance with the circadian rhythm? What is the peak time of the day that you're having your meals, etc.? And then you're going to just reference yourself within. And this is where I would highly encourage you to utilize the workbook, create your case study for yourself, download the workbook, print it out, and go through those exercises that are in there and start to journal on each of these. Start to track yourself and see what's going on physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and have a full holistic awareness. So then that way you're able to modify your diet, look at the certain foods that you're eating, and really fully understand that what you eat is what you are. So as the food digests within the body and goes through Tikshana Agni, and it goes through that processing in the fire, what's going to end up happening is that breaks down into those itty bitty little itty bitty itty nutrients that then go through the bloodstream and create the tissues that we have today, which is why Ojas is that brilliance, that vibrance. Especially you'll see that in people that are extremely healthy, that have a good balance of yoga, a good balance of being outside, a good balance of doing their work, and just overall Sama Agni. They have a very good balance of the nutrients that they take in from environment, because what we see also constitutes of how we digest our food and intake, as well as how we eat our food and the energy behind the food. So keep all of that in mind as you're going through your process. And then afterward, you'll go into the presentation of diet and nutrition. And in the diet and nutrition portion, you're going to notice the factors that produce a balanced and complete nourishment. You'll also go over healing and balance, as well as the significance of your prakriti and to achieve and maintain a balanced digestion. There are 3 dietary protocols to favor, and they tend to favor around the and sustain Sama Agni. So this presentation is going to really support and help the presentation that you saw with your dhatus, which are the tissues. And then you'll see what Dravya Guna Vignan through the Ayurvedic lens is all about. And as we know that Dravya is that matter, and the gunas are the qualities, and Vignan being the assessments. And so go through and see how Dravya Guna Vignan through an Ayurvedic lens is the comprehensive collection of all of the nourishment that we take in, and to include our herbs. I have the workbook for you a few times throughout this portion of your training, and I also have the comments turned on. So if there's anything you want to talk about, anything that you want to address, I really encourage you to share here with us as well. And then lastly, I have the log and review self-assessment and case study, which I did mention is an example of what a multimedia presentation would look like if you were to put one together. I also have included a quick link for you to utilize the Canva. Canva is a free program, and it's something that I highly recommend you using because it has all these beautiful stock photos that you can pick and choose and utilize in your presentation. And it really it's like taking PowerPoint to the next level. And it's great for people that don't know how to use PowerPoint, guilty as charged. So I use Canva, and I absolutely love it. I'm in Canva every single day. I use it for everything, to include the workbook that I made for you. So you can utilize Canva to put together your presentation, download the video, and then upload it here, or you can send it to me or share it in the Google Doc. Okay. Now, the other thing that I put just as a little bit of support for you to understand digestion really, really well is this really sweet 4-minute video that is by Emma Bryce of TED Ed. And it's all about how the digestive system works. And this is a really, really comprehensive video that really goes through our entire digestive channel. It goes through everything that we talk about with digestion in general, and it gets to pretty much give you a strong visual of what we eat, how it's processed, what the waste products go through, what the nutrient products go through, and it gives you a really holistic experience of what Ama is and also what Ojas is. So take a moment to look at that video. It will help you as you take this journey into diet and nutrition. And so I will be chatting with you again soon. But of course, if you have any questions, post them in our Facebook group, write to them here in the comments, or just send me an email and I'll make sure to address it in a training really soon. Much love, y'all, and I will see you in our next module. Namaste.